Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
And I tell you this, my breakout moment in broadcasting was in Winnipeg doing the Wednesday Lottery with Don Whitman. And my favorite author, you can see there's a lot of books in behind me here. My favorite author is from Steinbach, Manitoba. Her name is Miriam Taves, and she moved up. Great story about Miriam. Her father, Mel, ran a school in Steinbach, but on weekends for pin money, he would sell his eggs up in Winnipeg. He would drop off containers of eggs. So at one point, he was getting ready to marry a woman named Elvira, who would be Miriam Taves, the author's mom. And he wanted to build a house just like one he'd seen in Winnipeg dropping off eggs. So Elvira says, well, what's it like inside? He says, oh, I have no idea. I just drop the eggs on the veranda and I move on. She said, well, you got to look inside to see if it's a house worth building. He says, I can't ask to go inside. I'm an egg deliverer. She said, leave it to me. So they go up to Winnipeg from Steinbach. She knocks on the door and says, do you mind if we have a look around? My husband here, Mel, wants to build a home just like this in Steinbach, and it will be our new wedding gift. And the guy says, come on in. It was Bill Mosienko. Bill Mosienko holds the record for the fastest hat trick in NHL history. He scored 3 goals in 21 seconds. And that just proves he's a good egg. Oh, sorry, there's a pun.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
He's laughing at the fact I said I still get nervous every time I interview Connor Bedard. I do. I don't care. Who knows? He's 16. I'm 49. I've done thousands of interviews. The kid's eyes just pierce right through you. Oh, boy, I love watching him. It's the biggest reason why this jersey's up here.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming to you live on Game Plus TV, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and WQEE. Already heard from our guy, Ryan, down in Atlanta, Ryan O Radio. I got a bet coming up for you, Ryan, so be paying attention here in the warm-up. Be paying very close attention. I'm very happy because I'm live back in South Florida, back home. And we got the Moose. He's on the road, too. He's in PEI, where it's not as cold as the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, but colder than here. Moose is still at the Canada Winter Games. How you doing, Moose? What's up?
I'm doing well. We got a bit of a slow couple of days, but it'll pick up tomorrow. Things are okay here. Not quite minus 30, but we're surviving.
I'll tell you what, coming up next hour, this will be the hook. I want you to give the listeners and viewers an update on Canada Winter Games, because you were saying a very interesting thing. It's the second seating. The first seating's moved out, the second seating's moved in of athletes, and all new events and all that, so that's exciting. But coming up on today's program, we have David Alter from Rink Toronto. He's part of the Maple Leafs coverage for Sports Illustrated. He's in hour 1 and in hour 2. A lot of Leafs guests I've noticed, Clark, now that I think about it. Jim Lang will be with us from Toronto, the best-selling author of many Leafs-related books, and also Canada's foremost NFL expert. So that's in hour 2 with Jim Lang. Can you hit the quick stick show horn, please, Director Jordan? And we'll get down to business. I'll say this. I've been back in America less than 48 hours. WestJet lost one of my bags, Moose. You know all this, but the audience does not. The one bag that they did not lose was my broadcast equipment that I brought back from Canada. So that was nice. But on Sunday, they hand-delivered to my house my suitcase, so all is good. What was my point? I'm not really sure why. Being in America, all NFL all the time. Just a check here, it's late February, just in case you forgot. And you wouldn't have been probably watching this, but it's, could Aaron Rodgers help the New York Jets? Should the Dallas Cowboys extend Dak Prescott? I'm like, there are other sports that deserve to be talked about. This is an insult that we would be talking about the NFL, fake news and nonsense year-round, but that's their network. This is ours, so we'll move on to... Can you hit the horn again, Jordan, and we'll talk about the things that everybody else cares about.
How about that?
Thank you. Is not exciting what's going on, this arms race in the National Hockey League? Moose, Timo Meier is going to the New Jersey Devils in the latest ante of the high-stakes poker among the NHL's Eastern Conference playoff contenders. Meier joins the Devils after the Islanders made a big acquisition. As you know, the NHL-leading Boston Bruins got bigger and tougher, and the Rangers added one score and seemed to be on the precipice of adding another. It was an 11-player package. That's the one deal from Sunday. Another, the slumping Tampa Bay Lightning added an element of grit into their lineup to punch up their late postseason playoff push by acquiring forward Tanner Jeannot in a trade with the Nashville Predators. Jeannot from Oxbow Sask. Glad you asked. And the Lightning paid a high price in doing so by trading away third-year defenseman Cal Foote, as well as 5 draft picks, including a 2025 first-rounder. It's top 10 protected. Tampa Bay also traded its second-round pick in 2024, as well as third, fourth, and fifth-round selections this year. And the Dallas Stars acquired Evgeny Dadonov from the Montreal Canadiens for Denis Gurianov in a trade that nobody cares about except for them. I'm getting a little tingles, Moose. They can't all win the East Conference. This is a very exciting time.
It is very exciting. You got teams loading up. They all want to win, and I love it. I love when you think you've got a chance to win, go all in, because it doesn't happen that often, especially in hockey. So it is going to be incredibly fun down the stretch. And if you haven't made a move to bolster your lineup, you better soon. Otherwise, you better start thinking about going the other way, because we know who's for real now.
Ryan in Toronto writes it. He says, hello from Toronto, Rod Squad. It's going to be a great week. I agree. Everybody's excited. It feels like it's been a long time since we've been on the air together, but let me just back up the truck for a second. Beep, beep, beep. Lightning gave up third-year defenseman Cal Foote, the son of Adam Foote, as we all know. 5 draft picks, including a 2025 first-rounder. The Lightning, folks, don't have a first-round pick now until 2026. Now, I was just with their assistant general manager last week in the Brandt Center watching junior hockey, and we had a pretty long talk. The basis of our conversations will remain between us, Darren, but I laugh. Just pause. The poll questions regarding this. For Capital Auto Mall, Universal Collision Center, Capital has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Did the Tampa Bay Lightning give up too much for Tanner Jeannot? And last I looked on Twitter, 82% of respondents saying, yes, they gave up too much. They gave up too much. Now, on YouTube, last I saw, Clark, the majority said no, they didn't, but I think that's because not enough people had voted. Do you have an update, Clark, on what is it now? 72% saying yes, they gave up too much. And I'm laughing. People, we got to get with it. We got to get with the flow. We got to get with the current and realize business has changed in the National Hockey League. Darren, this is what I realized. We used to sit back, trade deadline day. I'm sure you were the same. We would too when I was working in hockey. Would park a chair right in front of the television in the players' lounge in the dressing room and watch TSN and Sportsnet all day. Right with it, there would be 50 to 60 players change hands on the NHL trade deadline day, which incidentally is this Friday. Times have changed. The moves are all being made up front. Your Leafs got Ryan O'Reilly over a week ago now. Over a week ago. And has he been great? Really, the only guy left of consequence is Patrick Kane. And this is what I think. I think the general managers are looking back at when they used to wait until the last minute to make trades, because junior hockey is the same. They're all done in the weeks and months leading up. It's like in the 90s when we look back and we were wearing chains and turtleneck collars and leather bomber jackets and balloon pants. We were like, what were we thinking back then? We thought we were doing the right thing. We thought we were cool. No. Don't wait until the last minute. Get your deals done ahead of time. That's what I think. GMs are looking back on why did we do it that way for so long?
I know. And that's the way it was. Not anymore. It has changed. It has changed. It has changed. But we're so used to now analyzing every little thing and wanting to declare a winner today. And we want to justify the price. You know, when we post something on the internet, we need X amount of likes. Well, you look at Tanner Jeannot, he's not going to light up the scoreboard and put up 100 points in a season. But we think that, and we think, oh, if you're going to trade a first-round pick and multiple picks and this and that, you need to get Austin Matthews back. No, you're going to get back a kid who was in the conversation for the Calder, had over 40 points last year, can play key minutes, very responsible, tough, gritty, and is going to be a key member of your team for a long time. He might not be a number one for you, but he's going to be really, really good, and that has a lot of value. So they paid the price, and I think they're happy.
Well, it's similar to teams overpaying for a quarterback. We've talked about that in the past. It's okay to overpay to get what you want. So maybe Tampa Bay did overpay. But I remember when Tanner Jeannot was coming out of junior, and I had a pro scout call me and say, what can you tell me about this guy? I'm like, well, he wasn't even, I don't think, a point-a-game player, but he was hard-nosed and he was honest, and you win with a guy like Tanner Jeannot. And the fact that Nashville's moving on, look what they got back. And it's interesting, by the way, John Ohm, I have my gong, by the way. He says business has changed. Give me the money. The player has way too much control, a.k.a. Patrick Kane. But that's why business has changed. And it was in my 10 things column on the weekend. You got to really stand back and not put too much stock into the bunk that you're hearing out there, because one of the insiders, who's a really good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, reported last week that Patrick Kane, he's got it down to Edmonton, Dallas, and Vegas as the 3 teams. Within 24 hours, the only place he'll go is the New York Rangers, because he wants to play with Artemi Panarin. And now that deal is being done. But you've given the players the control, so now you got to maneuver on the backside. And this is my point, Darren. I like trying to stay on top of what they're doing here. And I also want to say the Tampa Bay assistant GM, Al Murray, that's who I was with. We were talking about the playoff series last year against Florida and various things, and they just have faith in their own scouting department. Who the hell was Brandon Hagel with the Chicago Blackhawks? Who really was he? They're trying to ride it till the wheels fall off, because that can't stay good forever, Tampa Bay. But I saw the Scores power rankings come out today, and the Lightning are in the top 5. So it's like our window is open right now. I mean, who knows whether it's closing or not, but they're still good. So let's not worry. It's like the LA Rams, Darren, signing all those guys. Jalen Ramsey, or having to get rid of all those guys. Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and Odell Beckham Jr. they couldn't pay for this year. But you won, right? And then you pay for it after. Is that kind of not what we're seeing in the NHL right now?
Yeah, that's what's happening with Tampa. They're putting all their eggs in now, and they're saying, look, let's ride it, as you said, until the wheels fall off, and then we'll pay for it later. We'll rebuild. And you know what? It'll be on Al Murray and those guys to try and prolong this or speed it up by being good in the late rounds when you're drafting. And we've seen their track record. They're really good in the scouting department. Doesn't mean they're going to hit all the time, but I have faith. And I think as a team, you'd rather have your ownership, your GMs, your hockey ops people go all in and try and win you a cup. I know they've won already, but I like this team. I like this group, and why not go all in?
Well, I'll say one thing about Al Murray. Serena and I were walking around the neighborhood yesterday. She was asking me about Al Murray. I said, I've known him for 40 years. He coached my brother at the U of R Cougar men's hockey team, and he was kind of the architect or found the talent for the LA Kings to win 2 Stanley Cups. And then they fired him there. And we're like, what? And if we were going, what are you doing? What do you think Al was thinking? Oh, well, I'll just go to Tampa Bay and build a Stanley Cup champion there. All of a sudden they win 2 there. And there's a message there. When your time's up, just go on and do your next thing and have the most success you can there and have fun doing it. That's Al Murray for you. Okay, so moving on. That's a lot of NHL discussion there. We got a lot of points to get to here. This is the warm-up, and hang on, Ryan O'Radio in Atlanta. I still have our bet coming up. But week 2, XFL, I'll say to you in the audience, did you watch? The winners were St. Louis, D.C., San Antonio, and Houston. They all won. My Orlando Guardians they lost, and a guy wrote me and said, come on up to Orlando. I'll get you premium seats. Like, that's a 3-hour drive, bro. I don't want to spend it all in a car being down here. I'm not here for a real long time, so no, I'm not going. But I turned on the San Antonio game, San Antonio, Orlando. Within about 3 plays, I'm like, this is junk. This is the most that I've watched. Well, it's only week 2, but it's the most I've watched all season. And it wasn't good. And I don't assume you watched a ton, because not all the games are on Canadian television, correct?
Yeah, I didn't watch any, to be honest. It's it doesn't have me yet. again, mid-season's going to be my thing, but trying to follow the updates as much as possible and see they're getting some traction, which I think is a good thing.
I'm not really sure why I was so into it when it started. What was it, 2019, 22? All our years are all screwed up. I guess because I had friends in it. I only know one guy in it, Darnell Sankey. Know of him. I don't know him personally. I have not a lot of interest in watching the XFL right now. I get that the football people are, for the most part, all hot and bothered about it. But look, we got the Blue Jays I'm getting to. NHL. ESPN's cranking out all the fake NFL news, man. The XFL is way back in the batting order. My recovery guys this morning, 12-step program, as I'm 8 years sober, they're all hot and bothered about Chris Kirk winning the Honda Classic. One guy actually texted me about that, and I'm like, who the hell? What? Not a golf guy? My God, look at all the other things I got to get into and stay on top of. But the guy entered recovery, alcoholism and depression, took a player's break, for lack of a better term, comes back and wins the Honda Classic. Yeah. Recovery works. So, there's a lot of guys in recovery that know golf. You know what I mean? Business guys. Yeah. So, anyways, sorry, XFL. Maybe later. Point 3, Andres Shapiro hit a home run and had 2 RBIs as the New York Yankees handed the Toronto Blue Jays their first loss of the preseason, 9-5 on Sunday. LJ Talley hit a 3-run homer, and Vladdy added a 2-run blast for Toronto, which scored all 5 of its runs in the 5th inning. Starter Tim Mesa pitched just 1 inning, giving up 3 hits and 1 run for the Blue Jays, who opened the preseason with a 9-7 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates on Saturday. Toronto next plays the Atlanta Braves Monday afternoon. There you go, Ryan Radio. What are we betting? I would say lunch at your favorite Noonan, Georgia, or Atlanta eatery on today's preseason action between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Atlanta Braves. And I want to mention, too, there was news today out of the Blue Jays office. They have hired James Click as their vice president of baseball strategy today. He joins the team after 3 seasons as the general manager of the Houston Astros, where he led the team to a World Series just last season. James Click has joined the Toronto Blue Jays as their vice president of baseball strategy. Darren, we're going to pause and come back. I want to talk a little bit about baseball rules for those that watch the baseball on the weekend. Are you giving it a thumbs up or thumbs down? All the new rule changes, the pitching clock, obviously, which affects both the pitchers and the batters. There's a lot of talk about that. We got NBA to get to, the Einarson Dynasty at the Scotties, lots to get to. We'll be right back. This is the RP Show, right in the middle of the Quick Six show topics on Game Plus TV, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's the RP Show, and we are in the middle of the Quick Six show topics. What are we 3 through? Let's bring the Moose back in, if you don't mind. He's at the Canada Winter Games in PEI and will be all week. Hey, Moose, one interesting thing. It's Canada. They love to argue, particularly about hockey. So I just opened up the text line, the 902 text line. Okay, there's a lot of discussion about Connor Bedard. Any of it here? And I was reading an article on The Athletic this morning about the trade deadline and how teams are officially starting to tank to get into the Bedard conversation with around 20 games left. Ryan Thomas has written in, and I'll allow it. The question, he says, Roddy, just curious as to why a few times last week you mentioned that Connor Bedard has no one to play with the Pats. Suzdalev is 5th in league scoring. Tanner Howe is 12th in the league in scoring. Svozil is arguably one of the best defensemen in the league. Yada, yada, yada. I'll tell you what I wrote him back. He's elevating them, Tommy. And again, I don't want to argue. This is what I see. I don't need to defer to the NHL scouts that I was sitting with, but I will anyways. This was the discussion amongst all of us, that he's putting it right on their tape. And 9 times out of 10 that night in the game that we saw against Medicine Hat, they were whiffing on it. They weren't finishing the plays. So you can argue whether you want. What I'm saying is when he's with players of his caliber, which isn't going to happen until he gets to the National Hockey League, he could have double the points in junior if he was playing in the early 80s Regina Pats like Dale Durkach. But anyways, enough with the arguing. Oh, and by the way, speaking of the arguing, it was Serena that said Connor Bedard was underwhelming at the World Juniors, not me. For the cocky little piss ants that are coming after me for comments on the show.
How about that?
Craig in Calgary. She liked that when she heard it. Craig in Calgary writes in, by the way, he says the XFL games are all streamed on TSN+. I don't think the goal is for everyone to become huge fans, but like for a Tier B sport, just to get eyes on it and bring in repeat views. For me, so far, so good regarding the XFL. Okay, ready to move on? Do you have any thoughts, Moose, before I do? On anything?
No, let's move on. We're good.
All right, to the NBA. Here come the Hawks. Quinn Snyder has been hired as coach of the Atlanta Hawks to replace the fired Nate McMillan. The team scheduled a news conference for today. Should we go live on WQEE to the Atlanta Hawks news conference, hiring Quinn Snyder as the head coach? The team announced it Sunday, shortly after the Hawks' second straight win under interim coach Joe Prunty, a buzzer-beating 129-127 win over the Brooklyn Nets. Trae Young scored the game-winning bucket. Snyder was coach of the Utah Jazz, as you all probably know, from 2014 to 2022, went to the playoffs in 6 of his 8 seasons. The Raptors got spanked, by the way, 118-93 by Cleveland Sunday. .5, Kerry Einarson of Gimli, Manitoba, where they brew Crown Royal, won a 4th straight Canadian Women's Curling Championship Sunday in Kamloops with a 10-4 win over Manitoba's Jennifer Jones. An all-Manitoba final there. 4 in a row. She's become just the second team to do that. Colleen Jones was the other Moose. So we had the discussion about dynasties yesterday. I'm still not moving off. 3 championships gives you a dynasty. I don't know what 4 is. That's godlike. Hey?
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the way she played in that gold medal, and all the way through the entire Scotties. Unstoppable. I mean, she might be, she'll go down as one of the greatest curling teams ever. We know that. But there's going to be conversation, GOAT conversation in curling about Kerry Einarson. It's unbelievable. And to beat Jennifer Jones in the final, who was kind of the elite status symbol prior to Einarson, yeah, we haven't seen anything like this in a long time.
Those are 5 points. Number 1, NHL trade frenzy. Number 2, XFL week 2. Number 3, baseball and rule changes. Number 4, NBA. Number 5, Kerry Einarson Dynasty. And number 6, weekend sports randoms. And I got to say something. Some of these leagues really need to pick it up. I'm sorry this is going to hurt some feelings here, but the NLL, they gotta pick it up, man. We get all the previews going into the weekend. Hey, watch our games. Hey, buy tickets. And then once the games are over, we never hear from them again. So I don't know. Did our Georgia Swarm win Saturday? Did they get their first win, Ryan? I don't know. I know the Saskatchewan Rush got pistol whipped by the Vancouver Warriors Saturday night at SaskTel Center, and attendance numbers may have been fudged. But if you want to be in the big time, you got to conduct yourself in the big time in terms of sending out your results and so forth. And by the way, Chris Putz writes in, that's his name, Chris Putz. He says, will Rod address the comments directed at him by a Regina radio idiot over the weekend? Doubt it, but I'd love to see it. And then he says, yes, that guy. Roddy puts it to bed as soon as I bring it up. Yeah, it's over. Stop. On brand, he's got his information wrong. So we'll move on. I want to go back to the Leafs. What was it 5-1 last night, Clark? Toronto at Seattle? I watched half that game. Yeah, 5-1 Leafs.
LFG.
Okay, let's get back into the NHL discussion for a second, because that's what we do. Leafs are good, man. Good. How are you? It's probably way too late for you out there in PEI to watch that game. Did you follow it? Get the highlights?
A little late. Yeah, it's a little late for me to watch it. I got to watch the updates in the morning, but they're good. But again, we've had good Leafs teams. There's been good Leafs teams in the past number of years. None of it matters, man. None of it matters. So you get into the playoffs, and you have to beat the same team 4 times. It's hard to do. Even when you go into Seattle and win like that, can you beat them 4 times out of 7? Good hockey teams, and stay focused and disciplined. We know the team's good, but again, until we get to the playoffs, nothing matters. Doesn't.
When did, Darren, you're growing up. When did that dawn on? I'm so proud of you. You're not measuring the width of streets in Toronto to see if, for the parade floats, how wide they can be. When did this change occur, Darren? I feel like I missed it.
Eventually, right? Yeah. You have to grow up and understand that these things matter.
Well, it is. But the game last night was very physical, or at least in the early going. Seattle tried to put up quite a fight, but Toronto's just too good. And Seattle is a good team now. but I'm really impressed with Ryan O'Reilly. He's not doing anything major, but he's standing in front of the net, not leaving. He's creating havoc there. He's winning draws. I don't know, man. I go back to my weekend column with the Flames. I said the best way to solve their goaltending problem right now is to score more goals. That's really all you can do.
Hell yes.
You know what I mean? And hockey has changed so much that in the 80s, defense didn't win. The best defense was a good offense. As my good friend Bob Krawchuk used to say about defensive driving, he said best defense is a good offense. Go on the offense. Maybe the game has changed to where you can win games 6-5, 6-4. I mean, Darcy Kemper isn't going to the Hockey Hall of Fame anytime soon. And let's spend a minute, by the way, on what teams need to do. Like the Winnipeg Jets, I was watching that game, and I enjoyed it for the most part. I wish I didn't watch these games critically. I wish I could just sit and enjoy it. But the Jets, there is something wrong. And our guy Hustler is losing his mind like the rest of Winnipeggers with what's wrong with this team? What a terrible time to lose 5 of 6. It's their worst stretch of 6 games in the entire season. And I'm not going to ask you for any analysis on the Jets, Darren, but they got one shot in the first period in their own building. One freaking shot. The Winnipeg Jets. There's that. And then you got the Flames going into Colorado. Not a must-win game, but darn near. First shot on goal, Jacob Markstrom's beaten by Nathan McKinnon. It's like poking the balloon.
Yeah.
You know, so the Jets go and make the trade for Nino Niederreiter. He didn't play on Sunday because he was dealing with a visa issue. But the Flames, the Oilers, I wonder what they're going to do. Darren Dreger tweeting this morning that the Oilers are in on Ekblom out of Nashville, the defenseman. The Oilers are going to do something. What other teams need to do? Do the Leafs need to do more?
Yeah, I don't know if they do. Muzzin's out for the year now in Toronto. Again, they might want a defenseman still. I don't know if that's where they're going to go. Winnipeg, I don't know if Nino Niederreiter's, the saving grace to get the Winnipeg Jets out of this little funk that they're in, but it'll help and see what else they can do leading up to the deadline here. They just got to be mentally sharp. And again, you're right, bear down. You can't have one shot in your own building in any period of any game. So I think they'll maybe tinker, but their roster is pretty good right now. And yeah, in Edmonton, they need to focus all their efforts in Edmonton on keeping the puck out of the net. Not that it's a huge issue, but they're fine offensively. They don't need anything else up front. It's all about defense now in Edmonton.
Absolutely. And it is fun. I mean, on one hand, I got to be honest. Let's get real here. This is the kind of talk you're not going to hear on any other show. You got to stay away from the social media if you're the players. You just do. I mean, I was flying back from Florida on Saturday, or to Florida on Saturday, following what was going on in the Oilers Columbus game. 1:14 in, the Blue Jackets score on Jack Campbell. Everybody's down on Jack Campbell, the Oilers goalie, where they fall down 4-1. Everybody's writing off the team. All of a sudden, boom, 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 it's 4-4.
Yeah.
Like it's just hang on. I meant to put this in my weekend column, but I forgot. The NHL is becoming like junior hockey for a lot of teams. What do we call it? Predictably unpredictable? Perfectly imperfect? Unless you're the Boston Bruins, you don't really know what you're going to get on a nightly basis with any National Hockey League team, and teams are blowing big games. Craig, our director of scouting, says this Leafs team looks damn good and says the last 2 Jets games were pathetic. T. Will in Winnipeg says it took the Jets 20 minutes to get their second shot in the game yesterday. Calling that pathetic is an insult to the word pathetic. So, all season long, Rick Bones, Coach of the Year, but what a time of year it would be to take a dump, isn't it? For the clock to strike midnight and Cinderella's pumpkin to show up? What are the Winnipeg Jets? Are they hot garbage like everybody's saying? Or are they the team that everybody thought was, Palmo this, Palmo that, he sucked? Is this small blip or is this a disturbing trend? What do you think?
I hope it's a small blip. I don't think we know. I don't think we know. I think we're still trying to figure this out. You hope it's a small blip, and you hope that they're getting it out of their system now before the playoffs, and that they'll still find a way. I mean, they're going to get in, hopefully, unless this blip becomes really bad. They'll get in, and they need to get back to where they were. They have the ability. We know they do. It's not a question of talent. It's not a question of the roster. It's a matter of, can they stay focused and bear down and get back to playing good hockey.
Tad in Red Deer says every year for the past 5 years, the Leafs have had a good team. And then the playoffs roll around and the goalie falters. Same old, same old. Well, I don't know. They went 7 against Tampa Bay last year, a team that went all the way to the Stanley Cup. So this might be the year that the Leafs get over the hill. But until they do, we're going to keep laughing at them. Kevin the Medium writes in and says, Smurf Mafia losing their minds. Making the Medium smile. Who's the Smurf Mafia? Do you know? Is that a key word? Is that a code word? What's the Smurf Mafia? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
You don't know? I don't know. I'm just glad you're smiling, Kevin. Moose will be back in hour 2 to kick this around. See you, Moose. Enjoy PEI till then.
All right. See you then.
We've got a sports update coming up. As a matter of fact, we got a minute. I'll do it right now. Chris Kirk waited nearly 8 years to win a PGA Tour event again. Waiting one more hole on Sunday was no problem. Kirk stuck his approach to the par 5 18th to tap-in range, and his birdie on the first hole of a playoff lifted him past Eric Cole to win the Honda Classic Sunday. He walked away from the game in May of 2019 because of alcoholism and depression. Now he is a champion again. Back on the tour for the first time in 4 years. The sports update for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania, #1 at the box office all across North America this weekend. In the film, which officially kicks off Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, superhero partners Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, and Hope Van Dyne, played by Evangeline Lilly, return to continue their adventures as Ant-Man and the Wasp. #1 at the box office. Check it out this weekend or this week at Landmark Cinemas. David Alter joins us next from Rink-wide Toronto to talk about this head-spinning week ahead of the NHL trade deadline. We're live on Game Plus Network, YouTube, iHeart Radio, and WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having fun. Business is open. We're open for business on this Monday, and just to clarify, from Kevin the Medium, he's watching an airdrie. The term Smurf Mafia refers to all Winnipeg fans.
How about that?
Hockey and football. Yeah, okay, so now you don't need to explain it anymore. But not Leaf fans. They're their own special breed. And joining us to talk about it, David Alter from Rink Wide Toronto, part of the Leafs coverage for Sports Illustrated. David, welcome to the RP Show, if you don't mind. Appreciate you coming on. And let's talk about these Toronto Maple Leafs. And what was your take on that rout in Seattle 5-1 Sunday night?
Yeah, it was something else. I mean, I think I expected a bit of a letdown just because, doing the trip over out west and then playing a 4 o'clock local game can certainly be a bit of an adjustment. In Seattle, although they weren't as good as they've been to start the year, still a pretty good team this year. And for the first few minutes, it looked like it was going to go that way, and they opened the scoring with Vince Dunn's goal. But Toronto making the changes. Austin Matthews seems to have been reignited with the proper line mate and Mitch Marner, and the rest is history there. Austin Matthews cementing it with 2 goals, and Mark Giordano scoring his return to Seattle, former captain. You couldn't have written a better storybook for the way the Leafs game ended last night.
You and I saw the same game, although I might have missed some. Did they have a welcome back video for Mark Giordano? I was watching the Kraken broadcast, and they did? Come on, they didn't.
Yes, they did. They did, and apparently they flashed something for Calle Jarnkrog too, although I didn't see it, but Seattle Game Ops told me they did. So I'll take their word for it. But they did. And I mean, he's their first captain. And as crazy as that is, you can make the debate of if they should have named the captain for the first year. Vegas obviously didn't. Vegas waited, I think, 4 or 5 years before they made Mark Stone captain of their team during expansion. So because they did, and it was his first game back, they had to. And, he gets the all-time shots record, or block shots record, I should say, even though that's only tracked since 05-06 in that game as well. It was weird, but he is a former Kraken. You got to pay the respect. You know what? The Kraken also did a tribute video or thing on their social when one of their expansion selections got traded away in Vitek Vanacek. I remember that being pretty funny. So they do have a sense of humor about themselves for sure.
Okay, well, trust me, I get it. I just think it's all out of control. Mark Giordano was there for 5 minutes, but he was a very key part of the Leafs' win last night. Let's go back to that for a second. Did you see this in kind of since O'Reilly got there? Teams are kind of trying to impose their will early going against the Leafs, and they just stand up to them. And the Toronto broke the Kraken last night. This is a very good Toronto team.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, look, this team has, by all accounts, have been a pretty good regular season team. They always have. And this year, there's been more of an identity to try and be better defensively. And then obviously goaltending is a is a question that's been coming back years and years. And this year they've got 2 new goaltenders in Ilya Samsonov and Matt Murray. And they just seem to have more of a complete game right now. But there's always that feeling in the back of your mind, well, this is the regular season, and there's never really been a doubt about the regular season. So will this translate to postseason success? That's the multi-million-dollar question. And now as we reach trade deadline and see how other teams around them are loading up and what the Leafs did in getting Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari from St. Louis, it's creating quite the interesting arms race in the Atlantic Division to see how those first couple of rounds are going to play out.
And that entire Eastern Conference. What do we got now? Devils, Lightning, Bruins, Leafs. That's 5 really good teams. The Hurricanes, we're sitting waiting for them to do something because they've really done nothing yet. What do you think is going to happen between now and Friday? I'm not going to hold you to it, but how can you see things playing out?
From a Leaf perspective, I mean, they have about, when they activate Matt Murray from long-term injured reserve later this week, like it sounds like they're going to, they'll have about $2 million in cap space to work with to add some depth guys. I imagine that's all they're going to do in that regard. Probably a defenseman. I think they do need another defenseman. And then at that point, I mean, Carolina has yet to do something. There's not a lot of teams left on the trade bait boards, so it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Jacob Chychrun and if he's going to finally move and if someone's going to give the assets. I looked at what Arizona's asking price was, and I looked at what Tampa gave up for Tanner Jeannot. And I'm thinking to myself, how is Jacob Chychrun not moved after all of that? Like, I couldn't believe the return there, but I guess it's all relative to the teams and what they're willing to give up, and that was a crazy one. So we'll see. I mean, it's not too long ago we talked about how the West was the stacked conference, and now it's totally flipped 180, where it seems like the East is just in this arms race, and it's kind of a turtles race to see who's going to win the West.
You know, the Western teams sitting back, rubbing their hands together and letting the East beat the tar out of each other. But let me ask you this, the one main piece, well, there's 2 main pieces left, I guess, Patrick Kane and then Erik Karlsson. Let's just talk about Kane. And it looks like he's going to the Rangers. They're the one team we haven't mentioned here. How big of a difference do you think he can make at this stage of his career?
I think he'll be huge for them. I think when that Tarasenko deal happened and people were kind of crapping on Kane and, saying he wasn't what he was before, well, he came back from there and then just started scoring. He looked like he had a chip on his shoulder. I was at the game in Chicago where he recorded a hat trick, and he really looked like a man on the mission to kind of prove himself worthy. And so, by all accounts, it looks like he's going to go to New York. And you look at those forward lines, they're very stacked. They've got Adam Fox on the back end, and then you get Igor Shesterkin, who's kind of a proven commodity there. If he gets to the game going where we expect him to be, it's going to be hard to beat the Rangers. But I mean, there's a lot of great candidates. The Boston Bruins are the class right now, and it's kind of hard to take anything away from them. But you look at some of the additions all around, and it kind of resets the clock. That's why I always look at standings post-trade deadline, because to me, I feel like that's a more reflective indicator of where teams are at going into the playoffs because of all these tectonic shift and changes to rosters. So I'm really curious to see if Boston continues to play that way and if the Rangers start dominating given some of the additions. And I think Kane on a second line on the wing there is a perfect fit for New York.
Well, and then that you've just given me something to keep my eye out for, post-trade deadline record. I like it. And I also, with Washington, they're just, if this is poker, they're like, we'll fold. We'll wait for the next hand. Washington's like, we're out. David, we have less than a minute. Where can people follow your stuff?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at @dalter. But Sports Illustrated's Toronto Maple Leafs page is where you can see my articles. The pre- and post-game show for every Leaf game, home and road, with someone in the building, myself, and a rotating cast of co-hosts. So you can check out rinkwidetoronto.com and Sports Illustrated Media Group's Inside the Maple Leafs, Toronto Maple Leafs page.
Love it. David, thanks for the time. Enjoy the week and the hockey ahead.
You got it. Thank you very much, Rod.
viewer takeover coming up next. Next hour, Jim Lang joining us for more of this type of discussion. We're live on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio, YouTube Live, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Yeah, it's the roving studio. We're back in South Florida. That's why I'm so happy. Close to 30 degrees Celsius today. Going to be going for a ride this afternoon, top down. How about that? If you want to get at me, now's the time. 902-518-3033. Guy that I'm arguing about with Connor Bedard and whether or not he's got anybody to play with or he doesn't. He says we're not arguing, we're debating. That's what all arguers say. But anyways, you can write us on YouTube as well. Social media. The poll question, by the way, for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, I should pump that out right now. Did the Tampa Bay Lightning give up too much for Tanner Jeannot? Clearly, I don't think so. He's from Oxbow, Sask. I also would like to think that the Tampa Bay Lightning are above being criticized for anything. But no. Third, going to Nashville for one player, Tanner Jeannot, who probably should have been the NHL's Rookie of the Year last year. Third-year defenseman Cal Foote, and 5 draft picks, including a top 10 projected first-rounder in 2025, second-round pick in 2024, third, fourth, and fifth-round picks this year. I guess that's the whole thing where they think you're crazy. Let's just wait and see how it all plays out. By the way, is Jenna chimed in from Southern California? I think of her a lot. And Kevin Adams, the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. We all thought he was nuts. Who's having the last laugh? And by the way, they came in here and slapped around the Florida Panthers Friday night. And I talked to the Panthers fans. Shout out Jess. Saw her yesterday. She's like, first game I've left early all year. Huge Benno. Yeah, this guy ain't real. He says, RP, living the life in South Florida. Well, I'm stuck in Calgary. What's there to do in this dump? Watch the Bruins beat up the Flames tomorrow? The guy's, he can't honestly be from Calgary. March 13th, we're starting a Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, and let's be honest, I was writing down all the hashtags for just the sports alone in Calgary. Hashtag NHL, hashtag CFL, NLL, AHL, WHL, CJHL, CPL, Canadian Premier League, CEBL. They got pro basketball now. U Sports. I don't have enough hands for the sports that are going on. And you're sitting here watching a sports show? So come on, you're just trying to stir it up. Yeah, from Smitty, our director of scouting. Beautiful South Florida. It's the best place I've ever been, but that's just me. Don't need to take my word for it. It's where I want to be. Sports update. The Edmonton Oilers face a stiff challenge when they take on the NHL best Boston Bruins tonight. The Oilers had a short 2-game win streak halted in a 6-5 defeat to the league worst Columbus Blue Jackets on Saturday. Elsewhere tonight, the Senators welcome the Detroit Red Wings. The Vancouver Canucks visit the Dallas Stars. The Toronto Blue Jays have hired James Click as their vice president of baseball strategy today. Click joins the team after 3 seasons as the general manager of the Houston Astros, where he led the team to a World Series last season. As you know, the Blue Jays said in a statement today that Click will work closely with general manager Ross Atkins. How many people watched the baseball on the weekend? Clark, are you giving the new rules a thumbs up or thumbs down? He's reserving judgment. I do want to talk about this next hour, but can I say this? Jeff Passan, last minute of play in hour 1. Jeff Passan, ESPN Baseball Insider, saying the preseason is for getting the kinks out of these rules. So can everybody just cool it? Blue Jays continue preseason play today when they take on the Atlanta Braves at Cool Today Park in Northport, Florida. After Toronto opened its schedule with a 9-7 win over the Pirates on Saturday, they fell 9-5 to the Yankees yesterday. Rhino Radio, we're betting on this one this afternoon. Did you hear it? Lunch at your place, your favorite place in Atlanta on the Braves and Jays this afternoon. Sports update for Landmark Cinemas. In theaters now, 80 for Brady. It's inspired by the true story of 4 besties living life to the fullest when they take a wild trip to the 2017 Super Bowl, starring Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, and Sally Field, produced by 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady. Hour 2 coming up right after this brief break on Game Plus and the Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
He's laughing at the fact I said I still get nervous every time I interview Connor Bedard. I do. I don't care. Who knows? He's 16. I'm 49. I've done thousands of interviews. The kid's eyes just pierce right through you. Oh, boy, I love watching him. It's the biggest reason why this jersey's up here.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome to hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. And in Canada, the only daytime sports talk show on television, Game Plus TV, iHeartRadio, WQEE the key, and Ryan O'Radio's chimed in. My Blue Jays at his Atlanta Braves this afternoon. He's like, you're on. The bet is on, and he's taking Braves by 2. He's getting cocky. All right. Let's bring in the Moose now, Darren Moose Dupont. He is at the Canada Winter Games, and is it gotten cold, Moose, that you've had to put on your bunny hug? What's up?
Yeah, we've been running around, went outside in a little bit of a break, but I got to know, what's the restaurant in Noonan, Georgia, or in Atlanta?
Well, you know what? That's going to be up to Ryan, but John Ohm has written in, he says, Cooks and Soldiers is his favorite place in Atlanta. So I don't know. It'll be up to Ryan. Kevin the Medium has declared the Smurf Mafia. I had to ask him what it was. Apparently, it's all Winnipeg sports fans. The Smurf Mafia. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That's coming from Airdrie. Personally, I think it's hilarious. But I don't know how it's going over in Winnipeg. So we need to talk about that. And by the way, I just was looking at Game Plus's Twitter feed. You're going to need to help me out on this, and maybe the guys and gals working in the Game Plus control room right now. Some very exciting things coming to our television cable carrier. And Live Golf was the one thing that I saw. I was at a buddy's place that had Game Plus when I was in Canada, and I sat there all weekend and I watched Game Plus. I'm like, damn, that's a great network. There's a lot of great stuff on this television channel, and there's more exciting things coming. I know you talked to the big cheeses at Game Plus last week, so do you want to tell the folks what you can about some of their Sports commentary coming? Sports coverage?
Well, Live Golf is great. I saw that announced. That Game TV is going to be carrying some of the Live Golf events live, and Game Plus will be carrying them on replays. So that's really cool. Got pickleball coming to the network, and that's the big league. Drew Brees and the rest of the guys that own those great pickleball teams that's taken over. So lots of exciting things coming to Game Plus, and we're happy to be a big part of that.
Yeah. Very proud to be a big part of it. Major League Pickleball. So, yeah. So, Moose, this is the fun part of the show where we really invite audience participation. And we talk about, last hour, we certainly put a lot of the weekend to bed. The big trades. Timo Meier, which, by the way, he's gone to New Jersey. Ryan McCarthy in upstate New York is watching, writes that he says, "Good day, Rod Squad. It's Timo time in the Garden State. Let's go, Devils." I need to walk this back. Remind me of the Jets for a second. There's so much going on, Darren. Everybody's all geeked up. And we have a new listener. It's Derek Richards. He writes in and says, Chevy, and for those that don't know, that's the general manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. He says, Chevy says he doesn't look at passports when acquiring players. Well, maybe it's time to start. Chevy from Saskatoon doesn't have any rugged prairie boys on his team except Lowry, whom we love. I feel like I can't get into this, Darren. At the end of last season when they missed the playoffs, right, already said it. And then they come out this year under Rick Bowness. They're lining the streets, getting ready for a championship ticker tape parade of the Stanley Cup champion Winnipeg Jets. Now they've lost 5 of 6. They still don't have Prairie guys and Canadian guys, and specifically Prairie guys. But I'm like, I don't know anything. So I'll just shut up. Clearly Chevy knows what he's doing. And now they're in this swoon. And I don't know if they're going to come out of it. But do you remember a couple of years ago where the Jets lost 9 in a row going into the playoffs, and I think like 14 of 15 or something. And I said, now's not the time to abandon your team. And they probably go out and sweep the Edmonton Oilers in round 1. Do we see that coming again? Or does Kevin Cheveldayoff not know what he's doing? Where are we today? I lost track.
I know. I mean, you can't have it both ways. I think we've seen the proof that this is a good roster. We've seen the proof that Rick Bowness is a good coach.
Oh.
We've seen it. You know, now we need to see, can you get out of this little bit of adversity? Because we all want a secret pill. We all want a golden parachute. We all want these things to come in and save us. The one shot, you know, we're going to get this guy and everything's going to get fixed. That's not how it works. You need a collection of good people, which they have. And yes, times are tough, but they need to just get back to work and fix it. And they can.
Peaks and valleys. I mean, are they a good team or are they not a good team? We've gone all year. We've gone 60 games believing they're all that. And now they're not. I mean, it's interesting with the Oilers. Now, I do believe the Oilers need some help on the blue line. Can we sit here and say that the Oilers are that much better of a talented team than the Calgary Flames? I don't think we can. And I had a guy, you probably know him, write me on Facebook last night, Mitchell Scruffy Blair, who said the Flames aren't going to make the playoffs. As a matter of fact, you might have seen it. He's like, when you go back to Calgary, you're not going to have a sign waiting for you in the Saddle Dome in the playoffs like you did last year. I'm like, I put it in my column on the weekend. I'm too worn out to fight. I'm too worn out for this. But they got 20 games left, Darren. That is more than enough time to turn a season around or just go right into the night. I see the Jets are now the 7th team in the conference. They are in a bit of a free-for-all here right now. But I'm with you. Make it a trade isn't always the way to go. You know what I mean? I think you're down on the Ryan O'Reilly trade, obviously, but these shakeups this time of year, I mean, maybe some teams need them and maybe some teams don't.
Well, you're absolutely right. The thing, too, is what are you missing? What are you missing? And with the Leafs, too, it's a little bit of that, okay, heart, tenacity, the will, the things that you need to just overcome. It's not talent. There's no talent gaps, really, on Toronto or these really good teams. They've got lots of talent. There's no questioning that. But Ryan O'Reilly, they tried to do it with Nick Foligno last year in the playoffs. That didn't work. But Ryan O'Reilly is something different. He brings a different level of respect. Stanley Cup winner, just recently did it. He's played with Team Canada, you know. And
Ontario kid.
Like Ontario kid playing at home. Like for Calgary, I don't know you can look at Calgary's roster and say this is what's missing outside of goaltending. So maybe that's the move you have to make, is make some kind of crazy deal for a goaltender, which they're not easy to find, by the way. They're not just sitting there waiting for you. And then that would give the guys confidence. Hey, we got our goalie. Okay, now it's on us to step up. But I don't think you can just wave a magic wand and fix it.
I'm loving the comments from the viewers here. Allie, our regular gang's all together. I feel like they missed us over the weekend, but Allie in Texarkana says, thank you, Darren. Hate all the trade stuff. Most of the time, they don't have the time to mesh. We tracked this last year. Who was the last team to make significant trades at the trade deadline and go on to win the Stanley Cup? And it was the LA Kings in 2012. What'd they get? Jeff Carter and was it Mike Richards? I think. It doesn't usually happen. Rich in Edmonton says the Oil do not have much more talent than the Flames. Their back end is atrocious. And he's referring to the Edmonton Oilers. But again, I'm glad that I'm not on a single train emotional roller coaster like Oilers fans and Flames fans and Jets fans, and for that matter, Dolphins fans, because I was ready to write off the Flames last week, scoring on themselves in the game in Arizona. Then they turn around and win at 6-3, get a loser point in Vegas, and then completely soil themselves in Colorado. I don't know what's going on in Calgary, but here's the thing. They don't either. You know, I liked what's his name, the writer, Eric Francis, said. If they knew what the problem was, they would have fixed it by now. Yes. And I don't know how much you pay attention to what I say, Darren, because I say a lot. It's a lot to keep track of. But the Barflies in Winnipeg watches every day, and I appreciate him. He goes, hard to believe the Jets' dressing room issues from last year suddenly disappeared. They resurfaced in late February. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille.
Like, everything was great until it's not. And here we are in Winnipeg. They've got to figure it out.
Yeah. By the way, John in Winnipeg, I appreciate him and what he's brought to the show today. He says, why do the Florida Panthers win the President's Trophy and tank in the playoffs? Sports is wild and weird. It's a good question, but you're putting that one right on the tee for me. I was here, and I talked last hour about being with Al Murray, the Lightning assistant general manager, just last week in Regina. And that's the thing. I love going back to the sweatpants capital to watch my beloved Regina Pats, talk with the hockey people, go to the games, have a donut. I had to get back to Florida and get in the gym, Darren, because it was pizza and donuts.
Yeah.
That's what you live on as a hockey person. And it's a great life. But it's very stressful on your belt line. But anyways, we talked a lot about the Florida-Tampa Bay series last year. And again, I'm not going to repeat what Al had to say. But I said, I don't think if Joel Quenneville was still the head coach of the Florida Panthers in the playoffs last year, I don't even think Tampa beats Florida. But for gosh sakes, they don't roll over like they did. When Joel Quenneville was forced to quit by whomever it was, let's just say Gary Bettman. I don't know if it was the commissioner, but let's just say it. That whole franchise changed. And yes, Andrew Burnett did coach them to a President's Trophy, but they were swept in round 2, and Brunett's not here anymore. So you're asking what changed? To me, it was coaching. So, holy tiki fikey. Have we got deep into the hockey discussion here today? I wanted to mention tonight, for tonight's games, just to pause for a second, NHL 5 games tonight, Detroit at Ottawa, Vancouver at Dallas, Boston at Edmonton, Vegas at Colorado, Chicago at Anaheim. Any of those stick out for you as game of the night?
Not really yet. To me, it feels like a night where I might surf. You know, you might want to surf between the games on the NHL Network. If you got it.
Probably going to watch a lot of Ray Donovan. Tell us, Allie in Texarkana says 100% agree with Rod. Thank you, Allie. I agree with you. Tell us about PEI, Moose. I promised a Winter Games update. Tell us about the province. Tell us about what's going on out there. What's your day? That's where Darren is, by the way, everybody, at the Canada Winter Games in beautiful Prince Edward Island.
It's going really, really well. There's been some unbelievable moments. And, you know, we're halfway through. So yesterday and today, changeover day yesterday, as you said, the second seating. First group of athletes gone, second group in. And even a bit of a slow day allows me to get more time with you today. It's going to get really busy, though, starting tomorrow. So heads up, Clark. But we have hockey tonight, women's hockey. Men's hockey last week, the gold medal game went to double overtime. Ontario beat Saskatchewan in a real barn burner of a game. It was so good. It was sold out, the arena. Went till almost 11 o'clock at night local time. That was fun. And then women's hockey headlines to start tonight. And this week, boxing. Female boxing's in the games for the first time ever, and so is mixed doubles curling. So the action really gets started tonight.
Thank you for the wonderful update. And Swerve in Calgary writes in and says, Bud the Spud from the bright red mud, rolling down the highway smiling. I remember when I was in PEI, driving around. It's a beautiful place. I was in Summerside. I was in Charlottetown. I'm like, they literally have red earth. It's a thing.
Very cool.
It's not snow covered, right? Or it probably is now, but when you got there was no snow, right?
It's off and on. Like we get big dumps of snow out here, and then it gets a little sunny, and it's sitting -10 right now, but by Wednesday it's going to be back up to 0. So they really fluctuate in the temperatures. But you're right, the red earth is very cool to see. Up close and personal, and when it gets on your shoes and stuff. But beautiful, beautiful part of the world over here.
Oh, is it ever? We're Bud the Spud from the bright red mud. Who would think that Stompin' Tom was even real? You know? How do you go explain that guy to somebody? From Ryan O'Radio. WQEE says, Golden's on the square in Noonan, Georgia. Today's Blue Jays Braves preseason baseball game. It's a bet between myself and Atlanta's Ryan O'Radio. Listen to him every morning, by the way, in the Radio Penitentiary. That's the name of his show. It's as fun as it sounds. I'm a regular listener, and we're going to Golden's on the square in Noonan. He's buying after the Blue Jays win today, and Vladdy hits one out for a third consecutive game.
If he hits a home run,
by the way,
Ryan's got to buy dessert too.
Key lime pie. No, pecan pie. Something to leave you with? Craig Smith, our director of scouting, regarding what the Winnipeg Jets should do, because that is his hometown. He says, don't mortgage the future. Got some darn good prospects. Keep them. Yeah, but look what the Tampa Bay Lightning did. 5 draft picks and the young foot defenseman for Tanner Jeannot. You're either going all in. You're either all in or you're all out. Big risks pay big rewards. So we'll talk about this NHL arms race, and I got some stories from back in the day, ones that I've been in. I'll drop some names too. And with my teams, it's like, would you guys all buzz off? We're going for it here. Can't you see it? And then other teams in the conference, they're throwing their lines in the water too. It ticks you off. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and you're our favorite podcast platform, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, the key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 3033. 902 518 3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
Okay, here we go. Hope you're having as much fun as we are. Brand new week opening, episode number 947 of your daytime sports, your favorite daytime sports talk show is on the air. We are the air. Game Plus TV, YouTube, and WQEE. This is my favorite little jingle here. Let's bring in the Moose. He is in Prince Edward Island for the Canada Winter Games. Hey, Moose.
I got one for you.
What is that? A pin?
It's a potato pin. Bud the Spud.
I love it.
There you go.
Hang on to that thing, okay? Is it rolling down the highway smiling?
It's got a big smile, yeah.
Okay. So Ryan O'Radio says we're going to Golden's. John Ohm in Winnipeg says Golden's is a classic buffet-style restaurant situated on the corner of the historic downtown Noonan Square. Don't miss the fried chicken. I love buffets. What? What?
Chicken.
Chicken. I love buffets. We'll get back. Listen, we're not Winnipeg Sports Talk, but we're very big in Winnipeg. Derek Richards, who had been writing, I think he's new to the program, or maybe he's been watching for a long time, but he's just starting to write in. He says, maybe the Jets need to try getting some WHL boys at playoff time. I can guarantee the kids in Switzerland are not dreaming of winning a cup. I think the Europeans are looking at Europeans. Okay. Again, back up the bus for a second. Now is not the time to rethink your strategy. Okay? And I'm not sure that Kevin Cheveldayoff is specifically doing that. And I got to be careful. I don't want to name anybody or out anybody. But a huge part of my history, as you know, is traveling as a play-by-play guy of teams. This is what's so much fun. You see our followers are skyrocketing with new listeners, new viewers. They don't know what I did before. And that's fine. But way back, working in hockey, we would make these our general manager was Don Clark, Wendell's brother, and Don Double N. And we were making these, and Dale Angle was our general manager, and we had some really good teams. Old-time hockey people will remember those names: Dennis Pedersen, Steve Kelly, Paul Healy, who I just saw in Florida here a couple weeks ago, Rod Branch, Curtis Brown, Roman Vopat, blah, blah, a lot of those guys. So while we're doing this in PA, literally burning up the phone lines. Do they still use phone lines, or is it Zoom now? I don't know. But back then it was we're on the bus, and we didn't have cell phones. So our general manager couldn't travel on the bus, Darren, because we didn't have a cell phone. It's a long time ago. And then we're hearing, well, McCrimmon over in Brandon just got Brian McCabe. Hey, McCrimmon, he just got, who's the big kid? Oh, Dingman. Oh, he just got Kluche from Prince George. We're like, what? What's he giving up for these guys? What? Go away, Krim. Oh, he doesn't have to give up anybody until the end of the year. What? Who made up that rule?
Just making
Kelly
trades.
McCrimmon finally leaves. Kelly McCrimmon finally leaves the Western Hockey League, and I'm not in it. I'm like, this isn't. What do you mean? What do you mean he's not giving up anything until the end of the year? Oh, that's the deal they worked out. You can't do that. And then they go on to beat us in Game 7 in round 2. Same. I know you're just sitting there listening, and I apologize to ramble on here, but it was the same thing in the Canadian Football League. Hugh Campbell, Edmonton Eskimos, Houston Oilers. 2005, I'm with Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hugh is supposed to be retired with the Edmonton Eskimos, but no, he's consulting. And they got Ricky Ray as their quarterback, and at the trade deadline, they acquired Jason Maas from Hamilton. And we're like, what did they give up for Maas? Nothing. Doesn't have to give up anything until the end of the year. What are you talking about? It's from the McCrimmon handbook. And then they go on to win the Grey Cup. And they got to use Jason Maas in the West Final to come off the bench and win a game. What? What are you going to say?
I think my question would be, not that, it would be, why aren't we making deals like that?
We didn't know you could. That's... There's that, too. There's the, yeah. It's just why some teams always win and some teams always lose. I'll just stop there for a second. And then, again, back to the guy that says, the Jets fan that says, we need more WHL players. That's the thing that I don't understand, because Kevin Cheveldayoff played in the WHL. In the very brief time that I was with the Brandon Wheat Kings, he was there, and he scared the hell out of me. Because he took his shirt off, he looked like Tarzan. I'm like, just so you know, I didn't. But I was the goalie at 5'6", 146 pounds, and as Greg Millen once said, or Don Beaupre, you just have to stop the puck. You don't have to beat it up. But anyways, there was a game, and I'm not going to say any more. I got to really camouflage this, Darren, because I don't want to upset anybody, and I know a lot of coaches and GMs watch this show. But I remember after a particularly painful playoff loss, our head coach had been away from the team for a period of time during the regular season, and the assistant coach had to take over, and it was midseason. And when we lost, the coach and the assistant coach weren't even talking to each other. It was a very difficult playoff loss. So I'm sitting on the bus with that coach, and he goes, so when I was gone from the team, what was he doing? Like, what was he doing on a daily basis with his team? And I'm like, That was 4 freaking months ago. What's that got to do with today? You know what I mean? You should have addressed it then.
Yeah.
That's back to this Winnipeg Jets thing right now. We're going to sit and go, you don't have enough Western boys now? You can't, Darren, they can't do anything about that now.
No. Far too late for that now. Far too late to have that discussion. The time was then, and if you didn't have it then, don't dwell on it. Just move on. You can only think about, you're in the situation now. You can't go back.
Well, you could go out and trade for a bunch of WHL guys now, but that would be stupid. Because if you think you have locker room issues now, what are you going to do? You got 20 games left. You're going to blow up your dressing room after a great season? I think this would be what my mom meant when she said you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think this is what she meant, because I never really knew what that meant. Don't throw out a great season just because you lost 5 of 6. By the way, Glenn in Medicine Hat, Glenn Erickson, he's a hockey guy, and I really like Glenn a lot. He knows his stuff. He goes, I watched Cal Foote in Kelowna for years. Big, rangy, right-shot defenseman, certainly a high-value asset. Not sure he'll ever play mean enough. But if he moves in that direction, a big steal for the Preds. As one interesting thing that I read this morning on The Athletic was nobody knows who made this trade. Was it the outgoing David Poile or the incoming Barry Trotz, the next general manager of the Nashville Predators? We may never know the answer. I guess if it works out, they'll say it was Trotzy. If it doesn't work out, they'll say, oh, it was David Poile, because he's gone and he can't defend himself. Yeah. That's sports for you. To the 902 text line, 902-518-3033. Stephen in North Dakota. Will Game Plus and the RP show put in a bid for CFL viewing rights in 2024? Not in my lane. From Phil in Dauphin, Manitoba. Good day. Thank God it's Monday. Barry Trotz must be rubbing his hands together from the trade made yesterday. But seriously, time will tell if this was a great trade for Tampa Bay. Dougal Cameron regarding the Calgary Flames. Dougal's in Calgary, and he says, when both of your goaltenders can't stop pucks on shots 1 or 2 of a game consistently, you're just screwed. Hopefully, the Flames don't gas Sutter as coach because Brad Treliving can't make a trade to get a bona fide number 1 sometime soon. Clark says he's got breaking news. What do you got, Clark? Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty from the Chicago Blackhawks going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. What are they giving up, Clark? Giving up a lot. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Darren, let me walk back. Oh, great breaking analysis we'll have with Jim Lang coming up next segment. But he says, breaking. Leafs acquire from Chicago Jake McCabe, Sam Lafferty, a 5th next year, a 5th in 2025, in exchange for a 1st-round pick in 2025, a 2nd-round pick in 2020, and prospects, and we don't know who those are. That's okay. We'll stop right there. This ain't Leafs TV. They're not going to make too many trades, are they? Is that the danger here now?
Tinker with it too much. We thought about the back end was important. I think this is good. We know Kyle Dubas is going all in right now with this Leafs team. He's on an expiring deal. If this doesn't work out, it could be the last dance for Kyle Dubas.
And McCabe's salary 50% retained by Chicago. Yeah. Wow, man, I can't wait to hear what Jim Lang has to say next segment, because the Leafs are kicking the crap out of everybody now. And you can make too many trades. Trust me, with the Pats, we did it regularly. You blow up at least a quarter of your dressing room at the trade deadline. It can be too much. And we did it regularly. That's why we never won anything. James Zylstra writes, and he says, funny thing about NHL teams that are good, having great management, coaches, and cup runs, those teams keep winning and others lose out. We need to make some time, and I'll say this I haven't told Serena yet, but I'll tell you, and she's overhearing me. We need to get some time to get her on the air this week because she feels the Lightning should start the rebuild. She feels they're hanging on to some old guys too long, and there's nothing saying that she's right or wrong. It's a fun thing to talk about. But if you're Tampa, they've got faith in clearly their coach, clearly their scouting department. They just keep going. I think they're going to be good for a long time. That's just me.
I think they will be too. They're, everything has shown you that this is a good organization top down. There's a lot of trust there. And if they would not be blowing it up the future and the draft picks like this unless they were all on board with it. The vision is definitely a clear one in Tampa.
Toronto, this reeks a little bit of panic to me, but that's just me. And Allie's loving this because it's a big hockey day. Allie in Texarkana, the Dallas Stars fan that watches, she says, I wanted the Stars to go get Max Domi. Well, ask yourself why Max Domi's available again. Why was he available from Arizona? Why was he available from Columbus? Why was he available from Montreal? And now after a year, he's available from Chicago. You want him because why? I mean, he makes flashy plays. He skates end to end. But we don't know what else he brings. But when you got a great player, you don't usually let him go this easily. Tanner Jeannot, different story with what Tampa Bay gave up. Look at the load. Tampa knows what he's worth. And they're paying to get him. We got a break. Moose, we'll talk about it in overtime, okay?
You bet.
All right. Best-selling Leafs author and Canada's foremost NFL expert, Jim Lang, joins us next to talk about all of this. We're live on Game Plus today, your favorite podcast platform, WQEE, The Key, and iHeartRadio.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Gotta hit the beat.
dark horse bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. RP Show continues, and let's jump right into it. Let's bring him on, as I said, best-selling Leafs author and Canada's foremost NFL expert. Hey, Jimbo, let me just recap. The Toronto Maple Leafs, where's my bell? Today, acquiring defenseman Jake McCabe and forward Sam Lafferty in exchange for a conditional 2025 first-rounder, 2026 second-round pick, and forwards Joey Anderson and Pavel Gogolev. Go.
Great deal. They had to do it. Kyle Dubas needed extra help in the back end, especially after Jake Muzzin. He has a spinal contusion from this fall, and they basically announced last week that it's not going to heal. They're shutting him down the rest of the year. Who knows about his future? So you can't have enough good, solid defensemen going into the postseason, especially knowing you're probably going to have to play the Bruins and the Lightning, one of the both, in the postseason. So I think this is a trend what Kyle Dubas is doing. We saw it with Timo Meier getting acquired by the Devils. So the Leafs and Kyle Dubas have got Ryan O'Reilly and they got Jake McCabe. So that's their two big deals. So now going ahead to the deadline Friday, he can really be picky and choosy about what deals he makes because he's done his deals. And so I think a lot of teams, if you look a lot of the trades that have been made, Bo Horvat and all the other ones, a lot of the big deals are done. Now, I feel bad for our friends at the TV sports networks, so they spend the first 3 or 4 hours just recapping deals, Rod, because most of the big deals are going to be done well before Friday afternoon.
Okay, I'm glad that you explained that because I wondered if it was one deal too many. They've not had Muzzin for a long time, and they're still kicking the crap out of everybody. They had their way with a very good Seattle team last night, but you're not saying this is too much. You felt this was needed.
Absolutely. Rod, the big hurdle for them are the beast of the East, Tampa and Boston. And year after year, they're getting to the postseason. They've got phenomenal offensive numbers, regular season numbers, and they're losing in the first round. Now, a lot of people didn't think Kyle Dubas was going to keep his job last spring. He kept his job. He's on an expiring contract. So now this is make it or break it for Dubas and for a lot of the people involved in the Leafs front office and coaching staff. So why not get Ryan O'Reilly? Why not get Jake McCabe? Why not roll the dice and see what you got and try to get past that first round hump? And I get the sense that if they can get past that first round, who knows how far the Leafs can go, because it's just been an absolute albatross for them for so long and so many years and multiple coaches that they get to the first round and they can't get out of that first round playoff matchup.
Well, it's a big if, Jimbo, but you're there in the market. What Tampa did to him last year and all these first round ghosts, do you think that how much of a fuel is that, do you think, now that we're about 20 games away?
Oh, it's pouring pure gas on the fire, Rod. It is the big question in Toronto with Leafs Nation and the media and the organization is they've got generational talent in Austin Matthews. I mean, William Nylander has had a phenomenal year. The best year of his career. Giordano just set the new record last night for the most blocked shots in the history by an NHL defenseman. It looks like they've got reasonable goaltending. So everything's in place. Like you said, they've been winning a lot of games lately. Can they win a first-round series, and can they get by Boston? How far they can go? That's really up to Dubas and Keefe right now. So, I mean, by the end of the week, Dubas will go to Sheldon Keefe and the coaching staff. I've done my job. I can't do anymore. Now it's in the hands of the players and the coaches to the rest of the season. But no, and fair or not, no matter what, going into the postseason, all the storylines is, can you win the first round? I mean, the players and the coaches had better mentally prepare themselves because that will be the one story on everyone's mind all around the Leafs and all around the NHL is, with all their talent, can the Leafs win that first round series and move on and go deep into the playoffs?
Hey, Sounds like the Flames. By the way, from the viewers, Jen at the Four Seasons says if the Leafs are matched up against the Bruins, the Leafs are done. Even Boston's goalie can score. LOL. From Ted in Red Deer, he says, enough Leafs talk. LOL. Hey, trust me, out in Western Canada. We get it a lot, Jim. He says, he's joking, I think. He says, can Jim tell me who will be the Raiders quarterback next year? I'm thinking Mac Jones in a trade with the Patriots. What are the Raiders going to do at the quarterback position?
Now, the Mac Jones trade with the Patriots idea is not that far-fetched. I'm not sure if the Mac Jones experiment in New England with Bill Belichick, how long that's going to last, to be honest with you. And his question sets up a lot of questions on dominoes that's going to happen in the offseason, because where is Aaron Rodgers going to go? He emerged from his hovel in Oregon, his dark retreat for 48 hours with nothing but a yoga mat and a bed. And so there's speculation. Is it the Jets? Is it the Titans? Will he go to 49ers or Raiders? So wherever he ends up is going to precipitate a lot of future deals heading to the draft in the April. I mean, the Bears have already said they're openly looking at shopping the #1 pick overall. Now I look at a team like Seattle, who have the 5th and 20th pick in the first round, and they got a pick in the second round. Right now, the Bears don't have a second-round pick. So between trading up and down in the draft and trading quarterbacks, there's going to be a lot of quarterback movement, both current veteran quarterbacks and quarterbacks coming up in the draft. But Mac Jones to the Raiders is not the craziest thing I've heard, because the Raiders obviously they're in the market for a quarterback. And where it's going to go and how it's going to end up, I honestly don't know, because I think a lot of GMs, a lot of front office people, a lot of coaches are waiting to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers, because there was all that speculation that everyone assumed that Tom Brady was going to San Francisco. Well, then he's like, no, I'm done football. So now the 49ers like, what are we going to do? And that's the same thing with a lot of coaches and a lot of teams around the NFL. No, come on, I'm on with Rod. And sorry, my dog wants to chew the bone here. But so I think the Aaron Rodgers question is the biggest question. Once he decides what he's going to do, then teams can follow suit and make their decisions afterwards. But there's a lot of limbo right now waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Forgive me, I'm a simple hayseed hillbilly. I don't understand. You guys all lost me somewhere. Like Rich in Edmonton says, ugh, not Mac Jones. And Jen at the Four Seasons says, Aaron's sitting under a tree right now, meditating. Even as a Packer fan, I'm getting tired of his antics. I thought Mac Jones was the future in New England. You brought up the Jets and the Titans for Aaron Rodgers. To tie together for me, please, Mac Jones going to Vegas. I don't understand how that would work, or why.
Well, I think it's the Josh McDaniels factor, because of their previous experience together. I am not sure really where the Raiders are going right now, because I mean, you bring up Mac Jones, but I think that's still an absolute long shot, to be honest with you. And I'm not sure if they're thinking about trading elsewhere, trading for another quarterback. Maybe they're going to bite the bullet. Maybe they don't think the quarterback they want is in this year's draft. I think Indianapolis really believe that C.J. Stroud of Ohio State is their quarterback, and they dearly want to get him. And there's going to be some trades moving up and down the draft to get in certain quarterbacks and certain players. But I think everything, all the speculation about quarterbacks and everywhere, has to wait till Aaron Rodgers. And I understand Packers fans are sick of it. I don't see him playing in Green Bay next year. The more I think about it, the longer it's gone on, the more and more. There are some reports, there's 3 or 4 teams that are seriously looking at putting trade packages together with Green Bay to make a deal for Aaron Rodgers. So this is not like it's a big secret in the NFL now. It's a matter of what team can put the best deal together to get Aaron Rodgers in his rights from the Green Bay Packers.
And Rich in Edmonton says, we Raider fans don't even have a clue where they are going right now. Let's just say, for Rodgers, change of scenery, obviously good. What more can he do in Green Bay? You get the sense like he wants to try something else. And with regards to Derek Carr in Vegas, I did talk to one of his former coaches. He said this guy is uncoachable. He didn't go so far as to say coach killer, but uncoachable. Where do you think he ends up?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people in the NFL who kind of agree with your source there that he's good enough. Carr's good enough to break your heart. Like, he'd have 2 or 3 games. You're like, oh, he's fantastic. And then another game, like, does this guy know how to play quarterback in the NFL? And I think there's a lot of frustration for experienced people in the NFL about they don't know what car is going to show up from week to week. And that's the big problem. And now in the NFL, with the quality of quarterbacking, you have to have consistency at quarterback. You can't look at the Final Four teams before the Super Bowl and look how the game played out. Anything less than perfection at quarterback at the elite level, you're not going to win those games. And you're just going to be just on that hamster wheel of mediocrity year after year because you just didn't have the quarterback. And that is the one question now in the NFL is, do you have that star quarterback, that franchise quarterback going forward? And I'm not sure many teams look at Carr and say he's the franchise quarterback. Do they look at him as like a backup, like a solid veteran backup? Remember Mitch Trubisky? That's what he became after a while in the NFL. And maybe that's what Carr's future is now, his near future in the next couple of years.
Well, it is fun following that for sure, but not as fun as the hockey, and we can smell the playoffs now. Jim, thanks for this as always, my friend. Quick and painless. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the hockey.
Anytime. Take care, guys.
The great Jim Lang checking in from the Big Smoke. Overtime is next. Again, you want to get at us, now's the time. 902-518-3033. YouTube feed or through Twitter. We'll check the poll results, too, when we come back. Did the Tampa Bay Lightning give up too much for Tanner Jeannot? Over 80% of you saying, yeah, they did. We're live on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Lot of sun, smoky in the air. That's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, it's overtime. Proudly brought to you, I think proudly, by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the NHL and the UFC. Big fight coming up there. Let's bring in the Moose here, Moose. And again, it is the Rod Pedersen Show. Oh, we don't have him. Okay, how about that? Well, I guess I'll handle this on my own, which is fine, too. This way I don't have to get his thoughts. You can just get mine. Lucky you. I feel like we came into this show today.
How about
everybody
that?
was all bubbly, and we're leaving some people raging. And I know for a lot of you, this show is the best part of your day. For me, it's certainly up there. Here's the one thing. We get talking about the NFL with Jim Lang, and comments go crazy. Jennifer says, I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Carr ends up in San Francisco. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, sorry. In San Francisco or the Raiders, but who knows? It'll be a blockbuster deal for sure. From WQEE, Ryan R Radio, another great show. Thank you, Ryan. Allie says, great show, Rod. Love all of the hockey talk. And this is the one thing. We're giving you what nobody else is giving you. I was driving around today, got the Jeep going. It's a long story. But I was listening to my guy, Joe Rose, on WQAM, the sports talk. A lot, guy's like in his late 60s, played for the Dolphins for 8 to 10 years as Dan Marino's tight end. He just kept going and going and going about the Dolphins. And I get it. I'm in the Miami area. But if you want to talk hockey, you're not getting that too much around here. That's why people like it. But I'm jumping a little bit around here. And thank you, everybody, for answering the bell and writing in with your questions. William, hang on. Ryan O'Radio writes in and says, the Braves are leading by 2. That means I'm potentially buying lunch in Noonan, Georgia for me and Ryan O'Radio. Come on, Blue Jays. Let me check my app here. I was looking up the Leafs schedule for the week. What's wrong with me? Not that I don't take your word for it. It's now 5-0, Ryan. Bottom of the third. I need to stop betting. And that reminds me, I was watching a betting show here on Game Plus last weekend, and the guy said there's a difference between being a betting expert and being a sports expert. And I'm like, hallelujah. I am no betting expert, trust me. I'll never forget that phrase. There's a difference between being a betting expert and a sports update. Big difference. I don't want to be a betting expert. Don't come to me for betting advice. It's a lot of pressure. Anyways, Willie Duncan writes in. Willie Duncan, is this the Willie Duncan? He says, XFL Death Watch is on. Wow, I watched a very few moments of a couple of XFL games. It's absolutely awful. The game sucked. The production of the broadcast was insufferable, and attendance was horrible. I took about me 3 plays of the San Antonio-Orlando game on Sunday, and I'm like, this is bad. We're talking fundamentals, blocking, tackling, drop passes. What's the deal, guys? And there's an ongoing lesson in sports marketing here for the teams if they want to pay attention to it. I don't know who these players are. And for that reason, I'm not that interested in it. And that's a problem that the CFL's finding because honestly, I'm going to say it, I'm learning of more and more Canadian people that don't know who the CFL players are. Used to be they had the same profile And you tell me why it's not the same anymore, but it's not. They have the same profile as NHL players in Canada. They did. I'm not going to say who, but big name sports people in Canada saying, I can't name you one CFL player. And in a way, I'm like, that's a you problem. But it's the same as the XFL. I'm not watching because I don't know the players. What have we talked about here today? We've talked about Aaron Rodgers. We've talked about Connor McDavid. We've talked about Connor Bedard now. Everybody knows him because he's on national television, made a star by TSN. Now, CFL games are on TSN too, so why people aren't picking up with that like they used to is a different story. Ryan O'Radio says, go Braves. LOL. Looks like I'm buying lunch. Well, there you go. I didn't know this. See ya, that's why I'm not a betting expert. Craig Smith, our director of scouting, says, Vladdy not playing, got a lot of no-names. Braves got some starters in. Ryan, you didn't tell me that. Last minute of play in the RP show. That's the thing. If you're going to sit there and bet, you need to be poring over rosters, who's in, who's out. And trust me, I get it in the National Football League, but if you're going to put your money on the line, I'd like to think that you would do some research or a lunch. And I did zero research before making that bet with Ryan O'Radio. Looks like I'm buying you lunch. And if I had a 5-hour layover, would that give us time to do it in Atlanta, by the way, Ryan? Because a couple weeks ago I had that. I wasn't sure I could get back to the airport in time. It's garbage day. Looks like we got to go. Thanks to David Alter. Thanks to Jim Lang, Darren DuPont. Thanks for nothing, Moose, here in overtime. We'll see you all tomorrow here, noon Eastern on Game Plus and WQEE The Key.
Who has more fun than us?